Hello and welcome everyone to the Riverfront Red Show. This is episode number 521 of the world's most dangerous podcast, where we discuss the Cincinnati Reds and occasionally Mordecai Three Finger Brown. I'm your host, Nate Dotson. With me this week is just an eclectic mix of Reds fans. We'll start up top. You know him, you love him, Chad Dotson. How are you, Chad?
Now, you do know me and you do love me.
Well, I know you.
Okay. Well, glad to be here, Nate. Good to talk to you again, buddy.
All right. Coming back. It's been a while. I haven't seen him. We're glad to see him. Chris Garber. Welcome, Chris. How are you, bud?
Doing well. Thank you.
Awesome. And rounding out this motley crew is Wick Terrell from redreporter.com. Wick, what's going on, my guy?
Oh, not much. I'm glad to be back here talking baseball, both current and past this evening.
I love it. I had to get these guys on today because there has been quite literally no newsworthy events in Reds land this week. So we are getting together to draft the all-time Reds team. Anybody that listens to this show regularly knows I'm a sucker for a draft, and I'm not equipped enough with the historical knowledge to do this without these three people that are joining me tonight. So we're going to jump right into that. But before we do, please head on over to YouTube and do the whole like, subscribe thing. Go to your favorite podcast app. We appreciate it. It helps. And most importantly, huge shout out to our Patreon family. Could not do this without them. So if you want to join that family and take part in all the ridiculous banter going on constantly in the Slack channel and get a few gifts in the process, head on over to patreon.com/riverfrontcincy. Guys, there is really only one sort of newsworthy thing I want to get your all's thoughts on, and that is the Angelos family has agreed to sell the Baltimore Orioles. Do you think Bob will take the hint? Do you think he'll see the opportunity to make some money? And is there any hope?
What I'm fear is that Bob is going to sell the team to the Angelos family. It's the worst of all possible scenarios.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Well, the one thing that stood out to me is that the Orioles, where they are financially, when they chose to sell, is something that very, very closely mimics what the Reds have been doing, which is shedding all long-term obligations and building up a farm system that looks like it's bright and promising going forward, and the future is all right there. And that's what the Orioles have been doing. And they won games last year with a very young team. They've, once again, all the top 100 prospect lists are coming out, and it's littered with Orioles and littered with Reds. They're parallel franchises in a lot of ways, except for the fact that the Orioles actually won games last year and the Reds haven't really done that yet. We hope that will happen this year. But it's their business models have been very, very similar over the last couple of years. It's interesting to see the Orioles going for what, $1.75 billion, I believe, despite the overlap with the Nationals and their TV coverage and everything else. Anyway, it's a fascinating thing to think about, considering where they are if you look at them, just kind of at the base of their baseball operations right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to believe it means anything other than the Angelos. They're never actually going to open the books. But you've kind of been on this for a little while, Wick. You've been saying that if you wanted to read the tea leaves, they're out there. So we're going to keep an eye on that.
They made basically tenfold on their money over the 25 odd years they own the team. Is that roughly it?
That was what I read, so not a bad piece of business.
$173 million to $1.7 billion.
That's a good couple of years at the office.
Not bad.
Not bad.
One more thing across the league I thought could be worth touching on. Did y'all see that the Tigers signed one of their, I guess, probably their top prospect and soon-to-be rookie, Colt Keith, to a long-term deal? He is a guy. I don't know that he's as highly touted as some of our young studs, but they locked him up for, I think it was 7 years plus a team option for 3 more, something like that. Maybe it's 10 years and then 3 more options. But something that we've been clamoring for the team to do here on this podcast for quite some time. I just want to go around real quick and see if you could pick one Reds player that you would lock up long term, who would it be? And you can't pick the same person.
Who gets to go first?
Come on. It's because everybody wants the same guy.
You guys don't
want Wick, you go first.
So I'm going to go with a guy who was twice a first-round draft pick and also the team leader in wins above replacement last year, and Matt McClain. I think he's the right age to lock somebody up for about 8 years. He's the right age for somebody to want to agree to that, because after that, you'd be in your 30s and you want to go ahead and get paid in your 29, 30, 31 year era. You lock somebody up at 21 for 6, 7 years. That's in the perfect position for them to leave you after that, because boom, you're 27 years old hitting free agency. I think McLean's the safest bet. And for a small market team that hasn't yet sold for $1.7 billion, I think that's the way you would go with your front office decision. So I'll take Matt McLean.
I like it. No argument here. Chris, who do you think?
I can't say Matt McLean anymore.
Thanks, Wick.
I mean, he's by far the best choice and the best bet. I think I'd like to have probably another one of the pitchers then, if I got to go with it. Like, I don't know. I think Andrew Abbott may be if you can just say, I'm going to have Andrew Abbott for 8 years at like some reasonable level of money. I don't know. That's a terrible idea, but whatever.
This is top-notch content.
Yeah.
No.
What about Hunter Green?
Why do you want to lock up a minor league reliever?
Hunter Green. Oh, they already did Hunter Green. That's what when they signed Hunter Green, not to divert too much, but that's what made me think, oh, here we go. Maybe they're actually going to do this thing that that we just saw the Tigers do, that we saw the Braves do. That this is what teams do. It's a good way to kind of manage your roster. To me, it's Ellie De La Cruz. Now I know there's a Scott Boras thing, and whether you'll be able to do that or not, but that's the guy that I think brings excitement to the fan base when you lock that guy up. So there's some PR value to it as well. There's PR value to locking up McLean or Abbott or these other guys as well. But for me, it's Ellie. So
yeah, I think that's pretty fair. I'll round it out by going with my guy Noel V. Marte. I still wish Luis Castillo was on this team. We might get to him a little bit later, but I think Noel V. Marte is he's a dude. And I think he's going to be around for a long time anyway. Let's get him pay wise at it. All right, enough nonsense. Let's get into the all-time Cincinnati Reds draft. So what we're trying to do here is construct a roster by drafting one player for each position. That includes starting pitcher, relief pitcher, and DH. And the strategy is up to you. You can put the best team, just your favorite players. Knowing Chad and Chris, this could go off the rails immediately, and you guys just start drafting rosters made up of only guys named Heine. Probably get closer than you would think.
Scott Hyman was on my list. Yes. So
we'll try to put these together so that we can let the interwebs decide who won. DH is going to be a wild card spot. So whoever you feel like fits there best. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I have got a little random order generator here, and we'll see who goes first. It'll be a snake draft. And let's see what we got. I want to do it again because I get a lot of flack every time it puts me first.
Oh, see, I thought I was tanking. My Andrew Abbott answer was tanking to get the #1 pick.
If you would have gone from Boyd Graham Ashcraft, then maybe, but you are the second pick. Wick, you were going to bat lead off. Chris, you're in the 2-hole. I'm batting third, and Chad, you get the wraparound pick at 4th.
So it's at this point where I wonder whether or not Frank Robinson, I could legally slot him in as my third baseman, because he did get, I think, 13 games played there and maybe 11 starts in his career before they found out he really couldn't play third base quite as well as he could play everywhere else in the field. I'm going to take Frank either way. I'll figure out where I put him in my lineup because he played so many different spots. But for my money, the greatest hitter in Cincinnati Reds history. And yeah, Frank Robinson.
That's a pretty strong pick. I think he might end up having to slot into that DH role, but he's Frank Robinson. We'll find a place for him in the lineup.
I trust Frank's glove.
I love it. All right. Number one overall pick, Frank Robinson.
So I'm going to go with the guy who I think is probably the best compared to the field at his position. Maybe not. There's two guys there, right? But I'm going to take Joe Morgan, second baseman.
Mm-hmm.
Leave you guys with the Ron Oster and Junior Kennedy and whoever else.
There may be at least one or two other ones there, but yeah, you're right. Compared to the field, that's a strong pick.
Pretty strong pick. Yep.
Yeah. He had a strong case to be number 1 overall.
Did I blow it with Frank Robinson? Did I? I really. God, man,
no. Inner circle.
Nobody can make that argument. But I think the value with Johnny Bench is a heck of a pick. All right, so I'm up third. Or I'm sorry, Joe Morgan, and I just spoiled my next pick. I'm going to go with catcher Johnny Bench. Most important position on the field, best player to ever do it. I'm pretty happy with that one.
All right, so it's on me now.
You get
all right, so I get 2 picks. 2 picks. So I'm going to go ahead and go. Oh boy, let me see. Now I'm already. You all have mixed me up. I'm going to go center field here. Okay, and I didn't really necessarily want to take this guy first round. I thought he might last until a little bit later in the draft, but I'm going to go ahead and grab him so no one else can get Eddie Milner. I'm going with Eddie Milner in the first round as my center fielder, the only person whose autograph I ever got as a kid. My glove, and I immediately, within 3 days, left my glove out in the rain, and the autograph disappeared. So we're going to go with Eddie Milner, and then I'm going to go starting pitcher on the wraparound pick. And this is like an obvious one. I'm glad I got a chance to get to open the scoring on our and the creature Robin. No, Ron Robinson, that big head of red hair, just true creature, an incredible nickname. So we'll go with Eddie Milner and Ron Robinson.
That's the Todd Van Poppel upset pick going with Ron Robinson instead. So I'm impressed.
At first, I thought you were drafting a Stratomatic team of all like one fielders, but now I have no idea.
Come on.
Trying to figure out Chad's strategy is going to be the most fun part of this exercise. All right, so back to me. I am going to go. I'm going to vote with my heart right here. I'm going to go first base and go Joey Votto. I don't think it's great value. That's a little more deep at first base than some of these other positions, but I'm not going to be mad about it.
It's a good pick. You can't go wrong with Joey Votto.
All right, so we are back to Chris.
I'm going to go strong up the middle and take Barry Larkin to go beside Joe Morgan.
Boy, what an up the middle defense there. Wow.
I want to manage Chris's team. All right, Wick, 2 in a row.
So I'm going to back that up with another positionless outfielder who provided the best offensive value I've ever seen in my own personal life, and go Eric Davis. And I don't know who's going to play in what position yet. We'll sort that out as we get a little bit further in there, but I am not about to pass on him. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and make a hell of an outfield. Give me Veda Pinson. All right, I'm right back on back. So yeah, we'll man that outfield one way or another with those 3, and I'll be perfectly fine with it.
I was kind of hoping he would fall to this next round, but great pick. Play defense in that outfield.
My turn.
Indeed.
I'm going to take Kevin Mitchell, 1993.
Ooh.
Play him in left field.
The highest OPS in the history of the Cincinnati Reds with a minimum of 848 plate appearances with the club. Yes.
That is why I invited y'all on this show.
I wanted him. He was going to be my DH, but no, it didn't last.
It's funny. A minute ago, yeah, Wick said something about, great value, greatest offensive player or something, or offensive outfitter. And I thought he's going to say Kevin Mitchell because Kevin Mitchell, if you didn't see Mitchell that period of time when he was with the Reds, I've literally have never seen a better hitter. It was a short period of time. But
I've for the guy who had intentions on drafting Eddie Miller in the first round. So obviously we were thinking a little bit outside the box there. So
a little bit. Good pick.
All right. Back to me, or is
I think it's you, yeah, right?
Yeah, you're
okay. Let's go with I'm going to go back to second base here, and I'm going to go with a young man named Bid McPhee.
Ooh.
I watched Bid play a lot when I was growing up. Sorry, it's 1882, not 1982. Sorry, but the only other Hall of Fame second baseman that the Reds have played his whole career in Cincy, and probably won't win a lot of fan votes, but he was a stud.
Good call.
We
Good
all.
call.
I remember us when we all just like imitated his stance in the backyard with a ball bat.
Yeah. Everyone.
8 inches apart.
We had one of those wiffle ball bats with the grip on it was
Yeah, it was like the fat wiffle ball bat, but the whole thing was that size.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Bid McPhee. All right, so back to me. Is that right, Nate?
Yep, 2 in a row.
2 in a row. All right, so I have a strategy here for these 2 picks. They kind of go together. Okay, so we're going to go first with an outfielder. It's going to be a left fielder for me, and it's going to be Lance Nix. Now, and the reason why we're going with Lance Nix is he's got that random Y in the middle of his first name, Laynce, and it doesn't need to be there. So he's got a little something extra, something extra.
I don't want to tweak the rules of this game too much, but I almost feel obligated to give you Johnny Gomes also and just give you that platoon out there.
That's true.
Like you should have that. You should have that.
All right, so we'll have to ask Nate because Nate's the moderator. But can I get both of those as one pick?
I think that's
my
fair.
platoon in left field.
Let me speak for it because Lance has the extra letter and Johnny is missing one.
That's right. That's
so I
right.
think it is a fair trade.
The most natural platoon there ever was. Yes.
One complete player. Yeah, sustain, counselor.
There we go. So my left fielder is going to be Lance Nix and Johnny Gomes. So, my next pick also has and again, you'll see where I'm going here, an extra letter in his name. I'm going catcher. And, I wanted Johnny Bench, but since I couldn't get Johnny Bench, I'll take the second best catcher on the board, which is Dan Bildardello. 2 N's, D-A-N-N, Dan Bildardello. He didn't need both N's in his name, but he got him. So Dan Bildardello.
Chad, you are a menace, and I'm here for it.
Top that, Nate.
Yeah, come on. No,
I can't. I got no. Actually, I'm going to quit the draft.
The internet will pick my team. The internet, I'm going to win this. You all know this. That's all I'm about.
He's going to auto draft.
All right, I'm going to go with a questionable value, but a very, very shallow position. I'm going with relief pitcher. I'm going with the Cuban Missile himself, Aroldis Chapman.
Top relief pitcher on the board. What do you think?
I think so. It's got to be, right?
Hey, Aroldis.
I don't know. I like my guy. I'm gonna have to draft him now just to get him out there.
Oh, Logan Andrusek incoming.
Oh man.
All right. Chris, you're up.
Look at you, Garber.
I am let's see, what do I need? I need a third baseman. I think I want to go with 1939, 1940 red Bill Werber.
Bill Werber.
I'm a member of the Jungle Cats and an author of a pretty good book.
And an underrated player in Reds history, because 39-40 teams, obviously no one talks about them because that was a long time ago. But one of the only championship teams, and Werber, man, made that team go. And that whole story, Chris mentioned the Jungle Cats, but it's a dumb story, but it's a fun story, and that was a fun team. And Werber was kind of the straw that stirred the drink there. So
yeah, 362 on base percentage in the time he was with the Reds. Stole a few bases, played really good defense at third, and like Chad said, was kind of the leader of the team. So I need he needs to season Kevin Mitchell a little bit.
Can he? Do you think he can? His presence will be able to rein Kevin Mitchell's excesses in a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
Doubtful.
I don't know. Well, you know what? I probably should have put a Jungle Cat next to Mitch.
That's a good point.
You want a deep pull.
All right, we got Wick with the wraparound picks.
All right, so I'm going to jump to catcher. Did Johnny Bench ever hit 300 in a full season? He did not. Did Johnny Bench ever post an on-base percentage of 385 in a full season? He did not. Did Johnny Bench ever post a slugging percentage of 551 in a single season? Believe it or not, he did not. Much less did he do all those 3 things in the same year, which Ed Bailey did. So I'm going to take Ed Bailey as my catcher.
Wow.
And then Ed Bailey is not better than Johnny Bench, but those are fun stats to think about in the long term. So, yeah.
Ed Bailey off the board before another Hall of Fame catcher. Impressive.
It's off the rails here.
Eddie Taubensee, right.
I like it.
And then I would feel terrible about myself if I waited any longer to take Bip Roberts. So I'm going to take Bip Roberts, and he's going to be my second baseman. So that's that.
Bip appreciates that.
Very strong. Oh boy, there's a lot of good players left. I think I need to get a pitcher, and I think I'm going to take Tom Seaver.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm.
Hard to argue with that one. Is that the first starting pitcher off the board? No, Ron Robinson.
Ron Robinson is a swingman.
Oh, yes.
Obviously.
True creature. Come on, man. Gosh. He almost threw 2 perfect games.
Almost.
I mean, he threw 0, but he almost threw 2.
You know, a real Dave Steve, that guy. Yeah.
Real Dave Steve. Classic Steve.
All right. So I need an outfield. I got nothing going on out there right now. So I'm going to do what must be done, and I'm going to go center field. King Griffey Jr. Give me Jr. I thought about saving him for maybe a DH spot, maybe even right field. I don't know. But, you know, he's the kid. He was the superstar of superstars for a long time in a different city and a couple years in Cincinnati. But
Edmonds was still on the board, but not a terrible pick.
No, you know, Junior, I don't know. Is anyone else? I don't want to take us off the rails here, Nate, but Junior was pretty good in Cincinnati. if you look at his numbers, right? He was pretty good. And he got a bunch, and I understand he was injured and all that, and he never was the Junior of Seattle. But I don't know, that whole thing just makes me sad. Just thinking about him, his tenure just makes me sad.
In his career in Cincinnati, he had a 122 OPS plus and an 876 OPS. Like, the guy was raking.
But he couldn't decide what number he wanted to wear, you know? And when you do that, you can't retire it. And then it's, you know.
Complicates things. Yeah. Almost didn't draft him because of that.
You got to swap jerseys back in and get them redone.
Yeah.
And just
yeah. And they're having to wash who knows how many jerseys. I mean, you know, who can keep track? All right. So is it back to me?
Indeed.
All right. Where am I going to go? There's so many places to go. Well, I think I'm going to go first base, I think, here. And this is a guy that I thought about taking earlier because I wasn't sure he'd make it all the way to the 5th round. But I think you're all going to agree this is a solid choice, first base. We're going to go Calvin Pickering. Calvin Pickering had he wore pants that were size 58, I think, something like that. That's not a joke.
Calvin Pickering's drawers were a subject of much amusement at one of the original Reds Fests when they were for sale in the game worn department.
Get out of here.
And also for sale on small craft.
Yeah, that was yeah. If you don't remember the Cal Pickering era, yeah, you missed it. Oh boy,
hard to miss.
Yeah, he was a healthy young man. So now I've got that's the first infielder I think that I've taken so far. Do I need to go with another infielder, or do I go ahead and finish out my outfield? Let's go for second base here. Okay, second. No, I'm going to go shortstop. I don't want this guy to be taken. An all-time legend at the University of Virginia, Phil Gosselin. Phil Gosselin, he was a legend at Virginia, a legend in Cincinnati. He, I think, was on some reality show where he had like 10 kids or something. I don't know if you remember that show. No, who else had a reality show? I mean, I know Deion Sanders hosted Saturday Night Live, but no one else had a reality show. We're going to go Phil Gosselin. I don't know. I'm trying too hard here. Sorry, Nate.
I'm loving it. Don't stop.
Go again. That's both.
That was both, right?
That was both. Pickering and Gosselin.
Well, I thought about appealing to a certain vintage of Reds fan and drafting only prospects. But that seemed no, I did not see Chad's strategy. It would have been fine. So I'm gonna draft with my heart once again. I'm going left field. Give me Dunner. Give me Adam Dunn. Somebody
had to
Adam
do it, Dunn make it this
needed
long.
to be me.
I do appreciate you saying it as your left fielder and not your designated hitter. That's an important distinction to make, and I do appreciate that. Yes, the man could steal 20+ bases. He could.
That's true. Yeah.
We don't care
it's
about
a fact.
defense on my team.
Clearly. Well, I tell you what, if you have late career junior in center field and Adam Dunn in left, there's going to be some balls hitting the gap.
I don't know if y'all got a chance to listen. Seth Shaner had an interview with Scott Hatterberg over at Red Leg Roundtable this week, and listening to Scott Hatterberg talk about Adam Dunn, the whole entire interview is fantastic. Hatterberg talking about his career, talking about Moneyball, and they get into the time with the Reds, and the things he had to say about Adam Dunn were kind of just spot on, kind of what you would hope that Adam Dunn's teammates think about it.
That's
all right.
fantastic. I am
Chris,
going to go back to another one-year favorite in right field, Shin-Soo Choo.
Ah, yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was his on-base percentage that one year? It was like 720 or something.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
something
just
egregious.
They got it literally every time.
423.
I mean, how many one-year wonders were as good? I mean, there's not been that many. Ron Gant, Mike Cameron. I mean, who else?
Jim Edmonds.
David Wells.
Harrison Bader.
That really happened?
The Harrison Bader era. Oh, man.
Chad broke his boycott to go watch Harrison Bader pinch hit.
Tommy Pham's another one-year wonder.
Yeah.
Tommy Pham. Oh, my goodness. Ugh. Eek.
Will Myers, Lord.
Oh, for Will Myers. He was a Red.
This is not me taking Will Myers for the record.
You said it.
Sounded like lock it in. Lock it in.
No, but I will, in lieu of selecting Will Myers, I will go ahead and get my designated hitter out of the way before somebody else jumps at him. He got 2 starts at designated hitter in his career with the Cincinnati Reds, and they were 2 fantastic starts at that. Skip Schumacher.
Oh, the grit his team all of a sudden has.
You know what? You just got yourself a manager on the field.
There's no manager category up here. I had to make sure I got one. So
he's playing 8D chess.
As if Frank Robinson couldn't do the job, we got Skip. So we got Skip.
I don't know whether I'm impressed or disgusted.
Speaking of
Skip for that.
Speaking of Frank, I'm going to have to move him around on our spreadsheet here. I'm going to put him at first base and go ahead and call him my first baseman. He spent a lot of time there in 58 and 59. That opens up right field for me again. And did I say right field? I meant a kicker. I'm going to go with Paul O'Neill.
Oh,
very good.
Yeah.
He was on my list. I like that pick.
Who else?
A kicker. I don't understand the reference.
It's with your foot.
Oh yeah.
That was me trying to get my foot high enough to get on the screen, which I can't do anymore. So that was my attempt.
That's funny. I presume everyone knows about that. Yeah, I don't know. It's been 100 years now, but that is still my single favorite baseball highlight ever. The dude kicked it back to the infield.
I will say this: it might be my second favorite baseball tidbit ever, though. For as fun as the highlight is, go to his baseball reference page and see what foot he kicks with, and then click on the link, because that is the single best. What is that? What's the word for that? Where they embed something in there that you're not expecting to be. It's a phrase that I'm drawing up.
Like an Easter egg.
Easter egg. It's my favorite Easter egg on the internet. Is that Paul O'Neill kicks left, and it should take you to the YouTube video of him kicking. So shout out to the folks at Baseball Reference who have stolen more of my life than I ever anticipated they would since I found them about 10, 12 years ago. But that is my favorite nugget on the internet. So
as soon as we finish here, I'm gonna look that up. It does say kicks left. That is amazing.
That's left, throws left.
I want to spend the next 3 hours trying to find another Easter eggs. That's incredible.
The thing is that they have plenty of them in there, and the more you look, the more you'll be on there.
That is brilliant. I love it.
All right, I'm going to pick a DH of my own. He was before the DH in the National League, but he belonged there, and that is Calvosky Daniels.
Oh man!
Ooh.
How was he not a superstar?
Disappointing.
I'm still believing him.
I sure like that guy though.
There's still time.
No, but I mean, go seriously. His numbers with the Reds are
300, 400, 500.
Absurd. I mean, yeah.
It's crazy. Injuries.
All right. The Reds have so many of those guys. I mean, I guess every team probably does, but the Eric Davises of the world.
Austin Kearns. Yeah.
Oh,
Austin
what might have
Kearns,
been.
another
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
All right, so I am going to go. Let me see here. Do I want to go right field or DH? I'm going to go DH, I think. And I am going to pick Tony Perez.
Tony Perez.
Yeah.
I will take the top 2 first basemen and have them on my roster.
Yeah.
I
was sitting here thinking who hasn't been taken, who the sort of inner circle guys that haven't been taken yet, and I completely forgot Perez.
There
I
are
would
going
have
to
taken
be
him instead of Cal Pickering.
plenty of RBI opportunities when he's hitting.
Would you though?
Mid McPhee.
I would
Yeah,
have.
would
Yeah.
you?
No, if I'd have just remembered he was still on the board, I would have taken him instead of Calvin Pickering. All right, who's up?
That's you with 2 in a row.
Ted.
2 in a row. All right. So let's go with a pair of playoff heroes. A pair of playoff heroes here. For
Playoffs?
right field, playoffs?
I know not of what you speak.
Well, so that's what I'm saying. These are ancient players, obviously, because the first dates back 3+ decades. But playoff hero, he caught a ball, I think, hit by the Pirates' Carmelo Martinez in the 1990 National Championship Series. The game went the game 6 where they clinched the series. Glenn Braggs, I'm going to put him in right field.
Okay.
An all-time legend for breaking a bat over his while swinging over his back. Glenn Braggs. Glenn Braggs also came to Cincinnati with in a trade with Billy Bates in exchange for, anyone know?
Dave Parker? No. Dave Parker.
Ron Robinson. Ron Robinson, true creature. See, it all comes back around.
It all
Glenn
comes
Braggs
back
also
around.
has an extra consonant.
That's true. Glenn has an extra. I wish that was my theme. I could have found some more.
I like that we are literally have 4 people drafting the all-time Reds team, and we have spent the most time talking about the creature, Ron Robinson.
Come on.
It's the Ron Robinson cast. Yes, it is.
Exactly.
Yes.
If we don't get Ron Robinson on this show next week,
I was going to say.
it's the most publicity he's gotten literally ever, even since he was playing. So my next playoff hero, I'm going to go on the wraparound, is going to be second baseman. Hit a huge grand slam in the 1995 National League Championship Series. Mark Lewis.
Ooh.
Mark Lewis, underrated Red. Not really, but I liked him, and he had a big grand slam. So that's what I picked.
Hamilton's own.
Right. Fair enough.
Oh, there you go. All right. Top that,
Okay.
guys.
Back to
Can
me. Yeah, it's going to be tough. You ask much. I'm going to tug at the heartstrings a little bit right here, round out my outfield, and I'm going to have a father-son outfield with King Griffey
like it.
Sr. joining his son in the least entertaining baseball game.
You could have gone with
They're
Big Papa Dunn right there. You had every opportunity to go with Dunn's dad, and you went with Senior instead.
It was right there. It was right there. For
right
you.
there. It was all right there.
All right, cut that. We're going back. Call the producer.
Golly. You screwed that one up. Oh, all right. Take Senior. He's okay, I guess.
Oh gosh. All right, my turn.
Garber, what are you looking at here? What do you need to fill here?
I need
Catcher,
a
first
center
base.
fielder, a relief pitcher, a first baseman, and a catcher. Nobody else needs a catcher, so I should strategically defer on that, I think. Nobody else needs a first baseman. Nobody else needs a center fielder, so kind of do what I want, which is take I'm going to take a reliever. I'm going to take a reliever that I like, and it's going to be Rob Murphy.
Oh, Rob Murphy.
Mid-'80s Reds.
That's a deep cut. Lefty, right?
Lefty right.
I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea who Rob Murphy is.
Rob Murphy was semi-famous because he always wore black silk underwear when he pitched. This is the kind of thing. There's a lot of reporting back in these days on guys' pants and underpants.
All these years that I could have been famous,
All we needed
Oh,
to do.
Man.
That's funny. Rob Murphy was a good pitcher, though.
He was
It was
solid.
solid.
I liked him.
Yeah. All right, we're back to Wick.
All right. We should have some fun here, shouldn't we?
Well, who do you have left? What positions
time.
do you need?
I need a shortstop, a third baseman, and then I need both members of my pitching staff. So I'm going to go with the mustache himself. Actually, I don't even remember if he had a mustache while he was with the Reds, but give me John Franco.
John Franco.
That was my other,
that's solid.
John Franco.
my other thought. Good pick.
He did not have a mustache with the Reds because facial hair was not yet a thing in Cincinnati at that time.
Yeah, it was only allowed to the mascots at that point, I believe. Yes,
exactly.
Yeah,
Greg
Tune in
Martin
next
not come
week.
Down from on high.
Yep.
How was
Tune in
John
next week.
Franco?
We draft Reds owners.
I'm gonna trade down in that draft.
Really? God.
Get some 2027 picks in that
Yeah,
one.
I'm going to trade back to another year.
Yep.
How's Franco not in the Reds Hall of Fame? I mean, really, how's John Franco not in the Reds Hall of Fame?
You know, Chad, have you read anything about the Reds Hall of Fame lately?
All right. Don't mock me for my choices of topic, but I know I'm the only one that cares. But
It's fresh in your mind, which is why I was asking, because it's not something I've looked at recently enough to know. I would have assumed he was in there.
he is not. He and John Franco and Reggie Sanders are the two that
Yeah.
should be in
Ron
there. but
Oster's
aren't.
in there,
Ron Oster is in there. It's true. So
in case you wondered.
yeah,
Pedro
I don't
Bourbon is in
understand.
there.
Pedro Bourbon.
So I need a shortstop and a third baseman. So I'm going to take somebody who I still don't know if they are a shortstop or a third baseman. I'm going to take Ellie De La Cruz.
Ooh, I was waiting for the first current era pick. That's a good one.
Give me the man. Give me the speed and the arm, and he'll sort things out. And if he doesn't, he's still a 3.5 win player, and I want that. So
I like it. You can move him around the field. Maybe he plays a little center field in the future. Who knows?
he'll be out the field somewhere. I love it.
Fantastic pick. So after that pick, Wick still has third base and starting pitcher open. Chris, you still have catcher, first base, and center field. I have got shortstop and third base. Chad has third base, relief pitcher, and DH. Man, that Johnny Gomez pick just nailed it.
Yeah, that's strong for sure. Let me see.
That's an angry pick.
I will not be mocked. I will not be mocked.
You cannot mock the Lance Nix dance mix. That's the way it goes.
What do you think they talk about out there? It's not a platoon. They have to play at the same time.
Both of them out there. I love it.
Excellent.
I think I need somebody in center field to catch the ball between Chu and Mitchell. And I need some fun on this team. I'm going to go with Billy Hamilton.
Oh, yes. It's great defense.
But are you going to bat him leadoff?
Yes, I am. I was going to bat Willie Tavares leadoff if I got him, but
oh boy, good old
Not taking a
days.
center fielder yet. Will? Oh, darn. Yeah, that's a good one, Billy. Sacrificing all offense for a little chaos on the base paths and some defense. How did Billy Hamilton not win a Gold Glove? Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm asking.
That's kind of madness.
How did Joey Votto never win a Silver Slugger?
It's insane.
It's nuts.
How did Ron Oster get inducted into the Reds Hall of Fame?
All right, I'm going to go with my starting pitcher. And, man, I'm conflicted on this one. I want to – Tom Seaver was a great pick. I think that was Chris. I'm going to go with Jose Rijo. I was leaning somebody else, but I want the guy that was the stalwart in the rotation the last time the Reds won a World Series.
good answer. Good answer.
Yeah, that's an elite pick right there. Yep.
All right. Oh, boy, how do I follow that up?
I can't wait to find out.
Something dumb, I'm sure.
So I'm going to zag here. And so I took Ron Robinson earlier. You remember this? We were talking about him. True creature, Ron Robinson. I'm going to move him to my bullpen, actually. Because he pitched out of the pen, right? Because I want a different starting pitcher. I'm gonna move him into the pen, and my starting pitcher now is going to be Bruce Berenny. Bruce Berenny, or Berenny. I don't know. I making people up now. He was a real guy.
42 Baseball Reference. He had the 32nd most wins above replacement of Reds starting pitchers.
Wait, hold on. The 32nd most in history?
No, for the Reds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He had the 32nd most wins above replacement amongst Reds pitchers in history. Is this true?
That would seem to be the case.
Possible.
That is the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It can't be right.
That's like finding out that Todd Benzinger is like number 40 in hits.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, something's wrong. Something's wrong here because Micah Owings and Dontrell Willis are both ahead of him on these rankings.
Well, they got better. They probably are counting their hitting.
Hey, Joe, I'm going to pull out a stat right now that I'm probably wrong on, but it's something that there is a stat that the answer is the same answer that I'm going to say here. I want to say that there was a 12-year window from like 1994 to 2006 where the Red who was drafted and ended up with the highest career wins above replacement was Elmer DeCins.
Oh yeah,
and it was a 12-year window. I think it might have my years off on that, but there was a 12-year window where the pitcher the pitcher that the Reds had on their staff who had the most career wins above replacement was Elmer DeCins, and it was like 10.
Yeah, DeCins a perfectly cromulent pitcher, but
sorry, I don't know why that popped in my head. I was going through the old Red Reporter archives, and I know we had a post about that at some point because we couldn't believe it.
It's like between Rio and Aaron Harang.
Basically, yes.
Elmer DeCins was the best guy they had.
Yeah. Yep. And Rio missed 5 years.
Oh wow. Yeah. So what's a little upsetting is that no one has actually drafted Elmer DeCins.
I
already got my starter. Yeah,
there is time.
The night's still young.
I think you need another. Do you need another pick?
Yeah, that's right. So I'm going to go designated hitter here, and I don't know. This one seems obvious now that I'm thinking about it, but I'm a little surprised no one else is taking it. But for DH, I'm going to go with Michael Lorenzen.
Ooh.
Everyone told me he should have been starting in the outfield when he was in Cincinnati, and so we'll let him bat. Michael Lorenzen. What's that?
I like it.
Micah Owens was right there.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to go with Micah Owens.
Yeah, but somebody already mentioned Micah Owens earlier, and so I wasn't going to do that. Come on. So that's what I'm going to go with, Michael Lorenzen.
All right, so I am up from the next to last pick. I still need a shortstop and a third baseman. I'm going to pull a Wick here, which sounds like a radar comment. I'm not going to say that again.
Turn off your camera.
Yikes! Cut. As much as I like to have a donkey running around the field, I'm going to go with Matt McLean.
There you go.
I found out today that he is already 19th all time amongst Red shortstops and wins above replacement.
Really?
Our guy Joe Parsing pointed out that we had a couple guys hold it down for so long in Concepcion and Larkin that there wasn't a lot of opportunity for other people. But I don't think I'm going to regret that pick.
Matt McLean born on the exact same day as Hunter Green.
Oh,
exact same day, August 6th, I believe.
Do you think they celebrate their birthdays together?
They were both born in Southern California, maybe.
Do you think we could get invited?
We keep drafting them in this, and we might. Yes.
All right.
I'm sure they have a little get together down at the Chuck E. Cheese every year. we can snag an invite. I'm sure of it.
What was that on that? Scott had a great interview. He said that he used to go out with Griffey and some of those guys talking about how big a superstar Griffey was. He also said he loved Benihana. They must have went to every Benihana in every city they played in.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Who doesn't love Benihana?
Solid point.
Yeah.
All right. So next last pick for you, Chris.
I need a catcher. I need a Hall of Famer. I'm going to take Ernie Lombardi.
Ooh, I thought you were going to take Scott Hatteberg, but that'll do.
How was Ernie Lombardi the fourth catcher taken? Was he the fourth catcher or just the third here? Yeah, how was he the fourth catcher?
Barely eked out Dan Billardello.
Shout out Ryan Hannigan was on my short list.
Shout out Ryan Lavarnway was on my short list.
There's some good names in the catcher rankings. Bubbles Hargrave, Ivy Wingo, Smokey Burgess,
Paul Bacco.
I think there was that guy named Heine down there somewhere.
Benito Santiago.
Oh, Bento Santiago, one of my favorites.
Yeah, Heine nicely.
That's it.
Oh my gosh!
All right, so Wick, go ahead and make your next to last.
Close it out.
I'm going to go Luis Castillo. I miss him.
Yeah,
I still miss him.
That was between he and Riho for me. I like that pick, Wick.
Like it was one part that he was good. It's one part that they found him for nothing from a guy they got for nothing, and he bounced around from the Giants who gave him away. And on top of all that, he wasn't just good. He was like, you knew exactly how good he was going to be for every single year. He was with the Reds, and then he went to Seattle and was just as good for them. Just a guy that just is like, that's what you need at top of your rotation, whether it's your 1A or whatever. Just I miss Luis castillo desperately. And not to get too far down a rabbit hole here, but as surprising as last year was, and as fun as Noelvi Marte looked like he was last year, it's like if you just had Luis Castillo there instead,
they're in the playoffs.
What happens? And if you're in the playoffs, what happens? So anyway, best picture of the last few years, and I went back and forth between he and Johnny Cueto, and I settled on Luis Castillo because I put about 4 seconds of thought into it, and that's the first name that popped in my random name generator head when I had to. So third baseman, though, that's a tough one. This is a spot in this franchise.
Three of us haven't taken third baseman yet.
It's been a game of chess, and I don't want to steal somebody that you guys have been sitting on either. That's been the other one that's been sitting in the back of my brain is what are you cooking up down there? But I've already got O'Neill and I've already got Davis, so I got to go Spuds. Give me Spuds.
Oh,
got to go Spuds.
Who's that? Buddy Bell? I don't understand. Who's Spuds?
Gus Bell.
Spuddy Bell. Give me Chris Sabo. Yep.
Chris
Sabo. Fantastic. My first favorite player.
Viva La 90 Reds. The team that hooked me as a kid. Yep.
We had a kid that I went to school with, pretty good athlete himself, and he single-handedly did not get made fun of in school for his rec specs because of Chris Sabo.
Yep.
That's the only reason.
Shout out to Chris Sabo. Shout out to Brian Bentley.
Oh, Brian Bentley. Yeah, good ball player. Good rec specs.
All right. Chris.
That's a good pick, though. That's a good pick. Billy Werber and Chris Sabo are now off the board for third
I need to take a first baseman. He's a Cincinnati native. He will be a member of the 2026 Cincinnati Reds. I'm going to take Kyle Schwarber.
I wanted to take Justin Turner at one point, but I wasn't sure exactly how liberally we were addressing the Cincinnati draft. I love that. Yeah, that's great.
That's a good pick. Somebody take Trevor Hoffman. He'll be a Red, right? It's
is there anything
inevitable?
Yeah, is there anything more inevitable than that at some point Kyle Schwarber will be a Cincinnati Red?
It's going to have to be late in his career when he's not getting paid what teams are going to give him.
He's going to look like the Lammer. Jodan Baker from The Natural.
Like Calvin Pickering out there. Yeah.
The Kool-Aid man just busting through the dugout. All right. Last two picks. Chad and I both have third base. We've been beating around the bush here, but gentlemen, my team is my Reds Hall of Fame, and it needs to tell the story of this franchise. It's not about who they are as a person. It's about what they did on the field. So with the last pick of my draft, I am going to take Peter Edward Rose.
Almost Mr. Irrelevant.
The Brock Purdy of all-time Reds, yeah.
Exactly.
Before I enter it, this is Pete Rose Sr.
That's a good question. Thanks for clarifying.
Yes. Good call. See, if you'd been thinking,
Stephen Larkin.
You could have had Stephen Larkin. You could have had Pete Rose Jr. You should have gone with that, but you didn't have a strategy. You didn't think it out ahead of time like the rest of us did.
All right, Chad. Take us home.
I'll say this. I wondered whether anyone would have the the stones to take Pete Rose because he's Pete Rose, but it's a fantasy team, so
it's the beer talking,
I guess. No, we still have a few hours of dry January here, so
gross.
Which doesn't say much that I'm completely sober in the team that I've drafted here. All right, so my final pick. We're going to
record this again tomorrow.
Your team took the most possible pre-planning. You are pulling more out here than I could have ever possibly come up with on the spot. So that's effort. I tip your cap. Yeah, tip your cap.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you so much. Yep. So there was only one way this could end, and I'm glad that I got the last pick of the draft, so that I was going to take this guy in the final round anyway. I'm glad it's the last overall. It is the third baseman that started at third base for the Reds in the first game I ever saw in Cincinnati. First time I ever walked into Riverfront Stadium, and I literally, as long as I live, will never forget looking up at that beautiful scoreboard and seeing penciled in at third base, Wayne Krenchicki. Wayne Krenchicki. I held a grudge against Wayne Krenchicki for many years. Because he was in the lineup instead of Johnny Bench, because Johnny Bench had moved to third base at that point.
Oh, that's right. Those poor knees. Yeah.
Yeah. Eight-year-old Chad had heard all the adults talking about. Well, everybody here on this dumb show, if you listen, you've heard me tell this dumb story, but I hated that guy. So I've forgiven him, and rest in peace. I don't want to speak ill of the dead. He passed away and not too long ago. So Wayne Krenchicki will round up my fabulous team.
Just beautiful work right there. There are probably too many players for us to run through and list our entire rosters, but we will try to get these up on the social medias so y'all can vote.
Sorry to interrupt, but should we briefly talk about some of the players that weren't picked?
Absolutely. That was where I was going next. Any honorable mentions that y'all want to throw out there? Wick, you got somebody in mind?
Yeah, I went all outfield to start with, and I looked up midway through it. I was like, I could have had Dave Parker in my lineup. And how do you the greatest nickname in the history of baseball, the Cobra? Just how did nobody pick the Cobra? I should have picked the Cobra. I've got
second greatest nickname.
I've got Skip Schumacher as my DH though, so I'm comfortable with it. But I could have had the Cobra in there somewhere. Yeah.
You didn't get the True Creature though.
Speaking of outfielders that didn't get drafted, George Foster.
Ooh. A lot of homers there. Yeah.
Ed Roush.
Ed Roush for sure.
From my generation.
Reggie Sanders and Jay Bruce. Jay Bruce. They got
Jay Bruce was good.
They were on my list. Cesar Geronimo.
Ed Klazuski wasn't taken.
Brandon Phillips. I thought for sure BP would be picked at second base.
I was going through and looking up some rankings of just the best Reds players at each position, and I found an old article Chad wrote in 2016 where it was right after a blurb from right after the Brandon Phillips acquisition, and he said Wayne Krenchicki's hopes of having an all-middle infield roster is still alive. I was like, is history just repeating itself?
Living the dream. The dream. We had no Davey. We had no Davey.
No Davey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is crazy. Who are our shortstops? Goodness. Well, Ellie, Matt McClain, and Larkin, and I don't know who else, but no Davey.
We went offense. Some starting pitchers. Mentioned Cueto, Mario Soto, Johnny Vandermeer. Stuff out to me.
Yeah. Sonny Gray. Yeah.
Sonny Gray.
Sonny Gray had an argument.
Epirixie. Yule Blackwell, the Whip.
Jim O'Toole.
Jim O'Toole. Hated that guy. What a tool.
All right. I think we have gone sufficiently off the rails. Thank you, everyone, for coming out to the Riverfront and hanging out with us during this draft. Before we head out of here, Wick, do you want to give us any parting words of wisdom, or at the very least, please shout out your socials and where people can find you?
I was going to say Rolando Rooms that also not get drafted today as well. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Wick Terrell, at Red Reporter as well. We've kind of been in a slumber session over the course of the winter, in part because I have not been slumbering with my baby in the house. I hope she is going to be old enough to be crawling soon, which means she'll be tired and then sleeping, and I will be back to writing more about the Cincinnati Reds. Hope is a terrible thing to bank on, which is why I've been frustrated with what the Reds have been up to for the last 27 years. Anyway, you can find me there. Read me at redreporter.com. I won't hype all the other stuff that I'm doing right now yet because it's got so many glitches. But next time I'm on here, maybe I will do that. But you can find me there for the time being. And thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, whenever you get those glitches worked out, just let me know. You're welcome on the show anytime. So we'd love to have you back and appreciate you coming on. Chris, thank you for joining us. Well, man, you got some pretty fun stuff going on these next couple of days.
I am. My sons and I and a couple of friends are headed down to Miami tomorrow afternoon to head to the Caribbean World Series. We're going to catch 4 games in 2 days down there. Just still trying to see the rosters trickling out. We were hoping that Acuna was going to play for Venezuela, but Yasiel Puig has been added to the team. And Ozzie Guillen is the manager. So, and our friend Yadier Molina will be managing the Puerto Rican team with his brothers as assistant coaches. So,
did I see somewhere that Hector Rodriguez, Reds prospect, just got added to Licey for the Caribbean series as well? I believe. Yeah, awesome. I check me on that, but I swear I thought I saw that like right before I hopped on here.
Cool.
I saw that on the graphic too.
Yeah.
I saw a guy named Henry on one of the rosters, which sounds fun.
Let's go. One other noteworthy name, I'm not sure if you saw it, but a little guy named Luis Alberto Bonilla will be playing in the Caribbean series.
Oh, my.
Somehow he ended up not your relief pitcher or your starting pitcher because he could have been either.
I just what am I doing with my life?
All right, what
am I even doing?
We're gonna re-record this. We'll start over. All right.
Take 2.
All right, Chad. Any parting words?
Calvin Pickering was 283 pounds. Those are my parting words. Calvin Pickering.
Calvin Pickering's underpants. And that'll do it. Thank you, everyone, for listening and supporting the Riverfront. Please go check out everything that we are doing on our YouTube channel and various podcasts. Loving the work coming out from the Late Night Reds guys, Joe and Greg over at the Bengals Show. There's Riverfront U, where we're covering all the local Cincinnati area sports. And Seth Shaner at Red Leg Roundtable. He started out with Eddie Taubensee, then had Scott Hatteberg on there a couple weeks later, and he's got a couple other exciting things lined up. So keep your eye out for those on the Riverfront feed. Tell your friends, get them to tell their friends, tell their parents, who in turn, if they have friends, can tell those friends. Like us, follow us. We appreciate you. Shout out to Adam Dunn. Shout out to Luis Alberto himself, Wayne Krenchicki, and Eli Cash. For Wick Terrell, for Chris Garber, Chad Dotson. So long, Cincinnati.